Welcome back to night two of the Women Investment webinar. Look, we are recording live in studio and you are with us for this ride. We had some technical difficulties, but let's get right back into the program. Ruth was just talking about not using our rent money to buy curtains and to buy what other essentials. So we are going to jump right back into that question, and I thank you for your patience. Ruth?
And I want to repeat that because of this being October into November and coming to December. So let's remain focused, ladies. We will not, and I repeat, we will not use our utilities money, our rent money, to go after curtains and the center table because it's trending. We will hold fast to a plan so that we will be strategic about what we're doing, so that we will be good stewards of what God has placed in our hands.
Excellent.
And the first step that a woman should take to define her financial vision is not a technical one, but rather it is spiritual and having personal clarity. And we can do this by asking ourselves some intentional questions like, what do I want my money to achieve? How do I want to honor God with my finances? And we can do that through tithing and giving on to others. Don't take that for granted ever. We can ask, what kind of legacy do we want to leave for our generations? Once the vision is clear, then things like budgeting and saving and all these financial terms would be more aligned with vision rather than just random efforts. And having a plan is a good thing to document it, journal. It helps to keep you in check by going back, seeing where you are, comparing it to what you said you wanted to do and where you wanted to be. And sometimes that helps because you realize that if you go off track, you have this documented that says this is what I should have been doing, and you're given an opportunity to pull it back, come back into alignment with what is absolutely necessary. So ladies, build your future with financial intention.
Build your future with financial intention. I'm loving these little catchphrases and these little notes that we can have to remind ourselves and to keep us on track. But let's move from vision to action, ladies. The concept of 7 streams of income is extremely powerful. Could you briefly outline what these streams typically are? And most importantly, how a woman with a full-time job and family responsibilities can even begin to explore creating a second or third income stream without burning out. Ruth?
Quite a bit to choose from when you say 7 streams of income. And so ladies, I'm saying to be pay attention, because 7, you just might be able to find one amongst the 7 that suits you. And the 7 streams of income would be, the first one is earned income, and that's primary income, where you earn from salaries, wages, commissions when you have a primary job. The second one would be profit income, and that's business income, income that you earn from a side hustle. The third would be interest income, where you earn from savings, having a savings account, a fixed deposit, a call account, or lending activities. The fourth would be dividend income, where you earn income from buying stocks and shares. And ladies, you can do this. We are giving you the tools. It sounds like it's for the big boys, but we can go there buying stocks and shares, yes. The fifth one would be rental income. And the first thing that comes to mind with this is renting properties. But you might say, I don't have that. Let's look beyond that, ladies. You can rent assets. We have so much construction going on. In Guyana at this point, we got all these people with vehicles and equipment. They need some place to store it other than on the carriageways and the highways and so on. You can rent a space in your yard. You earn income from that. It's looking to see what you have and trying to decide what you can do with it to be able to earn money. And I would say, ladies, we are usually resourceful with things like this. We create something from nothing. And so if you have something, look to see what you can do with that something. The sixth one would be capital gains, and this would be income that you earn from selling assets where the value for it now is more than it would have been when you purchased it. And the last one would be royalty income, which you can earn from maybe like writing books. I would want to examine, people would want to say, you know, Boxan, you can earn from that, and you hear that quite often. But I don't know that we earn from a Boxan. I think sometimes we give up some of what we put in to pay the whole of the box. What the Boxan works as, I think, is convenience, where you have somebody that holds this for you, and they keep it so that when you need it, you can do strategic things, maybe using it for traveling, paying for school fees, buying some household item that you might not have been disciplined enough to keep that money by yourself. But I wouldn't add the Boxan as a stream of income. I would more say, you know, it's a convenient method of holding on to much needed cash. And women can explore two or more streams of income because we already balance a load of career and family. And adding another stream could be overwhelming, but we can manage it if we are strategic about it. And we can do this by looking at ventures that would take micro time, where we can look at projects that can see us taking a bit of time early in the morning, maybe on our lunch break, and then at night when we are finished with our activities. We can also not burn out by setting caps, looking at what is the venture we're going into, and deciding beforehand how much time we can give to this second stream of income so that we remain on track with everything else and not be burnt out. We can choose streams that do not drain our energy. 4 to 5 years I had a second job which was doing the same thing that I do for my 9 to 5, and what I realized over time is that that was not sustainable because it was taking a whole lot from me. I was experiencing, I would say, like decision fatigue, and it was taking too much, but I stuck with it because I had a plan. I realized it couldn't be sustained, but I needed to stay on track with earning a second stream of income, and so I used that to be able to propel to what we'll talk about later on as passive income. What helped me also was to work on my mindset, where I didn't look at it as this weighed down kind of thing, as it being a second job, so to speak. It was the vehicle that I needed to be able to put me ahead and remain on track with the second stream. You can choose what you're passionate about because this usually takes, you know, less effort from you. It would be smart also to use systems where you can outsource. Going into this second stream, you might not be able to do it by yourself holistically. Right. I might need to involve Samantha to do drop-offs to me. I can involve my children. And ladies, you can do that too. Put them to label the orders, pack off the orders, do purchasing lists, being able to manage your social media pages for your orders and so on.
Nice.
We can involve them there at our convenience, you know. And so I will say that we can stack income for a stronger future.
Look, I am enjoying these little tips that we are getting here. We can stack income for our future. Now, Samantha, I know you have something that you want to stick in here.
Yes.
What is it?
Yes, Marissa. First, I want to stick in that I hope the child services wouldn't have any issue with Ruth having the children working so hard.
It wouldn't.
But I like that she raised it because earlier when we were chatting with Kittle, the question of legacy was raised. And I'm thinking that having your children involved, while they may not take that same income path, you create the idea of business. And that is what I think is critical, so that our generations to come will not just settle for a 9 to 5, which is how I was raised, thinking that, oh, you get this good job, this esteemed profession, and that's it for income generation. Now we're hearing 7 streams of income. So I'm encouraged by that. And if I should add one advice for women, it would be to consider synergies. You know, see of something that you can add to what you already do to create income. Like, for example, if you are somebody who's disciplined with fitness, you may have colleagues who are not. So you incorporate them in your plan at a fee, of course. And so when you're going to work out, you call them up and pull them on your schedule. When you're preparing your health meals and so on. You prepare for them an extra bowl, so you just need to have some more containers. But the point is, you include them in your normal schedule and you earn.
I am very excited. I think that the tips that we are trying to communicate and share with you all are very practical tips that are based on synergy. And so as we go on with our conversation, we are going to take a little break here, and we are going to have Danessa Berbick. She's going to update us on her business startup scholarship. She was a scholarship awardee. So we are going to hear a little bit about what's happening with her business today, what direction she's taking it, if she's considering another stream of income. Over to you, Danessa.
Hello everyone, my name is Danessa Berbick and I am 11 years old. And guess what? I am the proud owner of my very own business. It all started with an idea and a little bit of courage to write a business plan for the Women's Investment Webinar Business Competition for Youth. I wanted to do something I love, something that made people smile and feel good when they eat my product. I really loved making pickles for my cooking classes when I was in primary school. So I turned my passion into a business idea and I won the competition. With much guidance from my mentor and my family, I was able to start my business. Running a business isn't always easy. I've had how to learn to plan, how to set the right price, how to save money, and how to talk to customers. But I've also learned something even more important, that kids can be leaders too. My business has taught me how to be responsible, creative, and confident. I've learned how to keep going when things got tough, and how to celebrate every little win. Since winning her business startup scholarship, I have grown. I have now transitioned from primary to secondary school, and my focus is centered on making the necessary adjustments. As a result, my pickles business is on hold. However, I have commenced making crochet items and I am loving it. I want to say thank you to everyone who supports young people like me. Thank you, Lord Jesus, my family and friends. Also, a special thank you to the Women's Ministry Executive. You have helped me believe that my dreams matter. One day, I hope my business grows even bigger, but for now, I am proud of every step I've taken, because being 11 doesn't mean I'm too small to make a big difference. Thank you.
Welcome back. I'm so happy to hear that 11-year-old Danessa is considering not only expanding her original business, but she's considering an alternative stream or another stream of income, which is the crocheting. So excellent work, Danessa. And she is proof of concept. So ladies, we can do it too. Girls, we can do it too.
Yes, we can.
I love that. Yes, we can. Okay, so we're going to go into Ruth's question now, and I really want to hear from this, from Ruth on this topic. Ecclesiastes 11:2 advises, invest in 7 streams or 7 ventures, yes, in 8. For you do not know what disaster may come upon the land. Isn't that true these days? This sounds like a biblical case for diversification. How does building multiple streams of income provide not just more money, but more time for ministry and personal freedom? Ruth?
Interesting question. Diversification for me speaks to spreading your resources across different types of investment, which reduces risk. You know, there is something that said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. This speaks to that, because in doing so, if you spread it out, the probability and possibility of something going wrong among several aspects is slim to none. But if you have all in one and something goes wrong there, then you're lost. And this peace that we're talking about, you won't experience it because you'll be tormented trying to bring your life back on track. And building multiple streams of income would, the first thing that comes to my mind would provide more money for personal use. You have an opportunity to do more things, travel, experience a different quality of life. But there is more than just having more for personal use. It creates more peace, and you'll hear us talk about this so much tonight, because if we treat with money right and manage our finances right, we experience this peace that allows us to be able to do more with what we have. Having multiple streams would provide more money for you to invest, because it allows extra money to earn more money. So when you invest and you're getting money, it's not for you to use just like that. It's for you to decide, how can I use this extra that I've gotten to be able to earn some more, to do even more things. It also can provide more money for you to be a blessing. At times you are not blessed with money just for you. You might be the one that understands finances and you're a good steward of money, and as a result God blesses you as the custodian of that money for whoever it belongs to. So remember that sometimes you, in choosing multiple streams, you are blessed to be a blessing. Having multiple streams could provide more money for you to do kingdom work, because Marissa, I heard you strategically say that, ask that in the question. You can make a conscious effort of giving into, like VBS, the love baskets. You are giving into God's work and his kingdom. Having multiple streams would break scarcity. I did not grow up having a whole lot, but I was not poor. Now that I have explored several streams of income, I have an opportunity to do more for my family and also to create a legacy for my generations to come. Exploring multiple streams would see you not being tied to 9 to 5, where your days are dictated. You can decide what area of your life needs your urgent attention on that day. When you are tied to 9 to 5, you're told what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and if you don't do what you're told to do, then there are penalties for that. Right. When you have multiple streams of income, you decide what you will bless the world with on that given day in terms of what you want to tap into. And I would say that diversification would buy back your time, and you can move from being time poor to being time rich, because time is the currency that allows deeper service to God and personal freedom.
That's a big one. I am very excited by how you ladies are, delving in and being transparent with your responses. Samantha, do you have anything else you think is pertinent that the audience needs to hear?
Risa, I like the question because while diversification, like Ruth mentioned, helps us to earn more, I like the fact that we earn more, yes, but we're able to give more, and especially to the kingdom. And Ruth mentioned about diversification, meaning not putting all our eggs in one basket. We're able now to give to the kingdom. I want us to see giving to the kingdom as one of those baskets, because God is no man's debtor, and when we give to him, he will give back to us. So that in itself is diversification. While it's not diversification in different business streams, it's giving to the kingdom. We will still reap a reward because of who God is. And I like the part that it brings us more freedom indeed, because we're able now to not just not have a 9 to 5 or choose, like we heard mentioned, but it also helps us to leave a solid foundation, which we heard earlier, and that seems to be our theme for tonight, right, for our children, because we can now perhaps see them go from nursery to university fully funded, because we have more income to facilitate that.
as we're talking about investment and legacy building, we have to consider risk appetite. We know this is a technical term. So here's my question. How can women practically assess their own risk tolerance in a way that honors both their financial goals and their personal peace? Samantha.
Marissa, I have to agree with you that indeed when we hear risk appetite, it sounds technical. But lady, it's also a personal word or term. So I would prefer if we focus there and don't get into too much of the technicalities. Why do I say it's personal? If we think of it, what satisfies me with a meal may not satisfy Marissa and Ruth.
For sure.
Well, yeah, but don't judge me because of my size. However, likewise, if you're thinking about how much risk I'm willing to take on to achieve my goals, it may also be different from these ladies. And so when we're thinking risk appetite, it varies, hence me saying it's personal. So how can we assess how much risk we are willing or able to take on? I'm thinking we can consider, let's say we have 100,000 Guyana dollars, which is probably around 500 US dollars, and you want to consider an investment. Think of capacity. What do I mean by that? What do you need that money for? Do you need it for your immediate expenses like rent or food or whatever? Or is it that little money that you would have tucked away? If it is, then it may be less riskier to use it as compared if you need it for your day-to-day. Another consideration would be the timing factor. Do you need that money to use within another month or two, or perhaps you can wait perhaps another year because that's when you will need it? The longer time you have, the less riskier it is. If you need it for immediate use, then it will be too risky. Why? Because let's say that investment falls through, you would be left in shambles already, just scrambling for want of better words. But if you have more time, you're able to recover, you might be able to borrow or do something else to get it back. And the final thing I'm thinking is the peace check. Do you feel at peace with it? Is it keeping you up at night? Never mind how good it looks on paper. If something is nudging you, perhaps it is not the right investment for you. Or perhaps it's not the right time. But just a caution, sometimes we may not feel comfortable about an investment, but it could be just because we are a little scared of taking the risk. So how can we work on the peace factor? We can do what we heard Ruth mention, diversification. Split the 100,000, perhaps you can put 50 in the snack business and you put the other 50 in another business. So if one goes down, more than likely the other one will survive. The other thing you can consider is setting limits. So you can say, okay, I will not invest more than $100,000 because, and you have 150 put up, but you only take 100. So if things go wrong, you got a 50. That can help you feel a little at peace. Or another thing you can do, seek advice. There are lots of women who would have walked the road that you were attempting to. Speak with them, allow them to guide you so you won't make the same mistakes. So what I'm saying in all ladies is the goal isn't to avoid risk, because if you avoid, you can't avoid risk altogether. If you keep your money in the bank account, inflation will eat away at it. I'm sure we can all testify that the money we spent on grocery perhaps 6 months ago cannot give us the same amount of groceries now. Why? Because of inflation. So the goal is to find that sweet spot where your faith, your finances, and your peace reach.
Faith, finances, and peace collide. Ruth, is there, I know that you have a concept that you share, and I don't want to get ahead of you, but I think that's an important element in this conversation. Please share with the audience.
Risk appetite for me and risk tolerance are closely related, but they're not identical. When I hear of risk appetite, I think of capacity. You know, when you are about, I think Samantha hinted to that, when you're about to eat, people would look at what you're about to consume and they would say, you got a big appetite, because they look at, you know, how much is in front of you. Risk tolerance for me, on the other hand, would speak to the amount of risk that you can emotionally and financially withstand without jeopardizing your peace. And that's the hashtag word for tonight, right? Mm-hmm. Peace. Women can honor their financial goals and well-being by assessing risk tolerance through purpose, emotional comfort, and more so through prayers. Assessing risk tolerance is not just about numbers, and Samantha said she wants to stay away from the technical part because we don't want to scare you with it or make it seem as if it's outside of your reach or you can't really connect to it, you know. So you can examine it by asking yourself some simple questions again. What is the purpose of my money? Is it to provide security for me, stability for my family? Is it to grow wealth? And we're talking about generational impact for those to come, right?
like
So
that.
what do we do with it now? This purpose keeps risk taking aligned with vision instead of the pressure and hype of what we're doing. On the emotional aspect, you can ask yourself, if whatever I invest in loses its value, we talked about not putting all the eggs in this one basket.
Right?
If something goes wrong, how would I recover? Would I go mad? Would I, not be a good steward? How would I recover from that? Can I handle some more bumps in the road for growth? These are intentional questions that you can ask yourself to be able to pace yourself emotionally. And so, ladies, at times, the word risk, even for me that has ventured off into business, is scary, but it has great financial rewards. They say business people are the ones that take risk and they do well. So there's something to be rewarded with if you take this risk. I would say find peace in looking at it this way. Faith is the spiritual term for risk.
When I heard that in rehearsal, my goodness, that thing blew my mind. That faith is the spiritual term for risk. So let that explode in your own spirit. We are going to go to an ad break right now, and then we'll come back and do some wrapping up and hopefully answer a question or two. Thank you so much for joining us again. Now, we in the studio here, we've been ventilating these topics about financial appetite, and you would have heard about financial risks and so on. But I want you to ventilate a little bit more on the concepts of prayer, journaling, legacy, peace, synergy. And as we ask our well, before we go, we have this question from the audience, and we are going to see how these ladies could share some advice. Now, let us get practical. And we know, Ruth, many women are interested in passive income through things like dividend stocks or rental properties, but the initial capital can be a barrier to entry. What are some lower barrier to entry income streams that you've seen women successfully create? Robin, hit your road now.
All right. So the words passive income, I hinted to that earlier on.
Correct.
And I did say then that I needed to find something that I wanted to be involved in that did not require me being there and running after it. I couldn't balance that with a 9 to 5. So the passive income venture for me is property rental. So I invest and I leave that there. I would revisit it when need be. I need to do repairs, but I can visit it more often to collect the rent.
Correct.
And so that works for itself. So ladies, you might be thinking, after hearing all of this information from night 1 and night 2, and you're thinking, I want to do something, but like Kita had said earlier on, she doesn't have this big bank account sitting there waiting to be used. What do you do to be able to venture off into another stream of income? Look at what you have in your hands. Look at what is available to you. And I'll give you some simple things that I think you probably never really examined or thought of, that it can be used to earn money for you. Remember I said earlier on, ladies, that we can make something out of nothing, and what we can do if we have something. Right, let's talk about that. We can look at simple things like, based on what we are good at, what comes to us quickly. Do not look at things that require for you to have overhead expenses. You don't need to. Let's explore something as simple as tutoring, teaching. You can do that online. You don't need to rent a space. You don't need to buy a chair, a table.
Correct.
Nothing. Ladies that are looking at us, you already have what's needed: the internet and some device, whether it's a phone, an iPad, a laptop, whatever it is. Use that. You already have the talent, and you now have the tools. As simple as that sounds. That's an income coming in there. You can look at doing editing for the people that are good in that aspect. What you need for that? A laptop again, or an iPad. You can look at social media management for the young ladies that sit on social media for so many hours.
And the old ones too.
Oh, and the old ones, Marissa said. Make it count. You can manage somebody's page, because you sit there and you're scrolling, you have an opinion. They should have done this, they should have posted this, they should have do this. Get paid for that. So rather than just being there to mind somebody's business, put your business there so that you can earn from that. You can look at doing personal services, cleaning, meal prepping. Samantha talked about that. For somebody that is already on the path of eating clean and eating healthy, right. You can call me, so you can set my meals up for me for the weekend, the couple of days, right? So you have a customer here already. You can look at child care, elderly care. Now in our society, we get away with not being qualified for doing this. So you don't have to invest time or resources. You just have to have care, the ability to be patient. And we do that already because we have children and we have nieces and nephews and all of that. So we can use that to earn, whether we do it on weekends, whether we do it as a full-time job. Nothing really needed for that. We can do consulting. So if you are good at what you do in any given field, you can now tap into different companies and pass off this knowledge that you have for a fee, of course.
For a fee.
For a fee.
Small?
Small or large. We'll
Alright.
start small. Please crawl and then walk and then, take it in stages. We don't want to fail at what we're venturing off into. We can look at podcasting. We can, you earn from YouTube.
Yeah.
Correct.
When you post and you have all these comments, again, young people, you're on social media. Make it count for you. You can look at things like baking. Ladies are usually good with their hands. And so you can
Usually
decide,
good.
not Samantha, but some other ladies, you online, you're good with doing that. You can use that as an opportunity to earn. You got flour and sugar and so on already in your house. Start small. Test out with your friends at work, your family. Sell them snack boxes. Maybe do it every Friday. And build from that, because you want to be able to start, have the opportunity to have a foot in, not be scared by this thing anymore. You can do printing on demand. This is no real upfront capital is needed. You can take upfront payments, part payments for these jobs, and so you can purchase the tote bags, the mugs, and so on, and you can print. You don't gotta look at space to store and all of that. You're keeping it overnight. Put it in the car in your room and you print off and then you deliver. Remember, you're involving the children to help do this kind of thing, and so for you, right?
The
Pack
children
off and
again.
so the children. I'm coming back to Samantha. So I would say tips for being successful with venturing off into this type of thing would be to start with what you know. Your current skills or your hobbies are usually the lowest barriers. Begin small and grow steady.
I like that.
Test the ideas, like I said, with your friends or family before scaling. And this is a word that we used last year in the Women Investment webinar. And so if you follow this program every year, you will have so many tools that you need, because there is a succession of how they're doing it. And they're guiding you not to fail, but they're also giving you the tools and the confidence that you need to be able to venture off into making money matter for you. And so I will say, what I like to say with this passive income aspect, you can make money while you sleep.
And wouldn't we all want to do that? Make money while we sleep.
Especially if you like to sleep like me.
Well, I like that you linked the previous years of Women Investment webinar, and you're linking it to show that if you follow our protocol, it is a tried and true protocol that works, and we are building on top of a very strong foundation, and we are exploring growth mindset. Now, Samantha, I'll let you, the audience, in on this one. I'm privy to some of the concepts you shared, and I think people really need to hear what you're saying. Ruth mentioned 9 areas. If you look back at when you look back at the video, you'll hear it. 9 areas she mentioned, and Samantha has some out of the box ones. So let's hear your thoughts on this question, Samantha.
How far out of the box?
A little out of the box, because
Alright.
renting, not just. Oh,
Alright.
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Samantha.
Right. So I like what Ruth said, start where you are with what you have, because here we're thinking if you don't have the startup capital, don't be discouraged, women. And real estate seems to be the most, attractive passive income stream. But what if you can't buy a house or build a house? What about that empty room that you have? Perhaps you're an empty nester, or you just built an extra room but never used it. Consider Airbnb. That don't require any capital because the room is already there. Another idea came as Ruth was speaking is perhaps you're an eloquent speaker. So you can be paid to speak, maybe at weddings, and I'll venture off here and say even funerals.
So you can be paid to speak well of the dead.
Of the dead, yes. And
Call
I think
me.
there's some people who are paid to cry even at funerals.
Not the cry part, but
Yes.
call me to speak well.
But
yes.
the thing is that do not require any startup capital. And while it may not be a passive income stream, the funds earned can be used to see you going into a passive income stream like real estate.
I like that.
I'm also thinking you may be a natural comedian. You know, those people who speak without effort and everyone is rolling on the floor. Don't do it for free. Don't entertain people and have them, rolling for free. Charge a fee, and there are different events that you can be hired from. And I think if we look a lot of at North American, there are lots of comedians. Some
Yeah.
of you may know them by names. They get paid to make people laugh. So I'm
Correct.
thinking that is a income stream that you can go into, use your skills, and let it generate the funds you need to start a passive income stream that will see you earning while you sleep.
I love it. Thank you so much, Samantha and Ruth. I told you, ladies in the audience, I told you that they are very qualified and they would have been able to share with you and encourage you and really speak to your spirit and awaken inside of you this urge to earn not just one stream of income, but to explore multiple streams of income and to get to the place where you can earn while you sleep. And I like that they did not provide just steps, just passive income straight away, but we put a bridge in place to show you how to walk with what you have and to get to where you want to get to earn money while you sleep. Thank you again for joining us for night 2 of Women Investment webinar. Thank you for staying with us in this conversation. Please come out to night 3 tomorrow night. I think we have Siobhan and Tiffany. They're going to take the baton and raise the conversation even higher. So thank you again for being with us for this wonderful conversation. And I hope it doesn't end here, but in your homes and in your circles, please remember to take this conversation a little further so that you can not just have an idea, but connect that idea and vision into action. Please don't forget our workshop tomorrow morning, right here at Generation Next. And we are looking forward to having you with us. Some more details are going to be played as we close out. But this has been the pleasure of my life to be able to serve you here as moderator. Thank you again, ladies. You did an excellent job. And to you at home, see you tomorrow. God bless you.